What's up, everybody? Well, I'm on a roll with making vacuum videos tonight, so why bother stopping? So today, I am here to bring you the Kirby Ultimate G Diamond Edition successor. Here I present to you a Kirby Sentria. This particular variant of the Sentria is actually from the early 2010s. Easy way I know is because that was the time where they revised the Mini M Tour, which is said to produce way more airflow, and also has a different style outer bag with a straight down zipper instead of that weird curved zipper like the earlier Sentria ones and the Ultimate G's had. But anyway, I got this vacuum at a local pawn shop for only $60, which was kind of cheap for a Kirby, especially something as new as a Sentria. And this definitely could use a bit of a polish. But anyway, this is just how I got it. And I've done nothing to it except a little bit of a transmission greasing, or at least the mechanism greasing, because when I got it, the slider mechanism for the transmission was actually seized up, which was the same way I got my older Generation 3. So I basically took that apart, greased it, and now it works just like it was when it was new. So, but anyway, let's go and give a walk through the machine. The Sentria was definitely was a major facelift for the G series lineup. It has a much newer style handle and a very sleek and ergonomic LED headlights and newer style belt lifter that's all rounded out instead of squared off like the older Ultimate G and below. And it's got a much more larger rubber bumper to protect your furniture from scrapes and scuffs, or at least to protect the machine from scrapes and scuffs too, then you think about it. So anyway, let's go ahead and show you the bag back here. Right here is your basic Kirby Micron Magic Hepa filtration bags. It has excellent filtration for a vacuum of this type. The bag is very spotless on the inside. I did not have to take this off or wash it out. So anyway, back here you have your power switch right here and your switch for your drive selector. This, unfortunately, does have a little bit of an issue from time to time where the transmission does ratchet a bit when it's in neutral. I don't think it's doing it on me right now. But every so often, this thing does ratchet when it's in neutral, which I'm thinking about replacing the transmission one of these days because it's a little bit on the loud side. Well, it's not loud, but it's a little bit louder than it used to be because even my Diamond Edition has a more quiet transmission than this. So anyway, right up here, as you will see, is the handle lock. Basically, just slide that to the side, and when you recline it back, there's a notch that lets the vacuum head rise up off the floor if you have floor threshold. I like to leave this right in the middle so it lies totally flat to go under as much furniture as it could. Still can't get under things really that good. It has such a high profile, especially with this M Tour getting in the way. In which this outer bag is removable. Just simply pull on the side here. It's going to be hard to do this one-handed. Just pull it to the side and it comes off like that, and just and you push this little tab on the back, and your outer bag will come off. And push this right here to pull the handle out. I'll do that later in the appropriate part of the video. That's for to use many of its attachments, which unfortunately when I got this, it didn't have any of its attachments, but that's okay. I honestly don't care for this having its attachments. I could pretty much just use the ones that came with my Diamond Edition. Oh, there. I don't know if you barely hear. There's the transmission ratcheting. Does that every so often. So I'm probably gonna look into getting a transmission for this thing one of these days. So anyway, let's go ahead and show you how the belt lifter works. See, the headlight just lifts up like so. Just simply pull this out, twist over. It's quite squeaky. But then you simply pull this little latch and your floor nozzle comes off. So you can better change out your hose, which these Kirbys do have the option for a hose. So let's go ahead and lock this back in place. Whoa. Make sure this thing stays on straight. All right, see, we're back in. Rotate the belt lifter around. And just like that. Now, one thing I found interesting on this, if you leave the belt lifter in the off position, you can use this on bare floors, but it doesn't really work well unless you have it in hose mode. But the thing I like about it, when you leave the belt lifter off and pop the headlight down, it actually looks a little bit better than the older G series did, because they had a square belt lifter. Usually half the time it would nick at the top and you have part of the headlight that barely sticks up. So I like how Kirby went this route, just to kind of clean up the look when you have the belt lifter off, which I honestly wouldn't, because I like to use it in hose mode for bare floors. And right here on the left, you have your carpet height adjustment, typical Kirby fashion for having a foot control height adjustment. Right here, you have a nice large exhaust port right there. Right here is your latches for the bottom plate to come off to change your belt. And let's go ahead and tip the machine on its side to show you the ratings plate, if it'll focus. It's a Kirby model G10D. This has a 7 amp motor, 120 volts, 50-60 hertz, from Cleveland, Ohio. So these vacuums are in fact made in the USA, which is something you don't normally see on vacuums these days, being made in the USA, let alone they're probably made in Mexico. So anyway, right down here is your brush roll. It is a little bit worn out because it's seen quite a bit of use, but this is incredibly stiff bristles. They're not scissor sharp, but they are very stiff. And this is what Kirby likes to call an oblique brush roll. As you can see, the bristles are spread out across the entire circumference of the brush roll. So this thing does clean very good, probably better than an older Kirby with the chevron style. At least the agitation is much stronger. Add that with its super high airflow, and you got a fantastic deep cleaning machine, which I honestly don't see why some people dislike Kirby's. Yeah, the big Kirby scam and all, for a Kirby seller just dumping a Kirby on you and you paying about a good $1,400 worth of a machine that you don't probably want. Another thing I've seen Kirby's be badmouthed for, and this has been their thing for a while, is how heavy of a machine they are. These things are incredibly heavy. They probably weigh like a good 25 or so pounds. So they're not the most convenient vacuum to have if you have if you have 2 floors like I have. But for now, let's go ahead and release the cord, which this is a fairly long, I think it's about a 36-foot cord. So quite a bit of reach. Alright, so now let's go ahead and plug it in. And now I'll go ahead and turn this thing on and demo it for you guys. Hopefully the transmission behaves on me during this demonstration. So anyway, let's go ahead and get going here. Adjust the carpet pile. as you can see, this thing runs exceptionally smooth. Now, unfortunately, since I don't have the original attachments, in order for me to demonstrate this in tool mode, I am going to have to use the attachments from my Diamond Edition. So they do fit at pretty much any of these G-Series Kirbys. Anyway, just simply move the belt lifter like so. And you could pop on your... Whoa. Went through the camera. But anyway, hook up your hose like so. As you can see, there are actually two buttons on the front here. These are actually safety switches, so you don't accidentally turn your vacuum on without a floor nozzle or a hose attached. But however, the bottom safety switch actually puts the vacuum motor on low speed, so the suction's not overly high, so it doesn't stick to the carpet. And when you hook the hose up, it pushes in the top safety switch, so the motor turns at its highest speed to provide the most suction for using your hose, which is an unfortunate problem with direct air vacuums. They're known to produce more airflow than they are suction, but Kirby was smart enough to compensate for that by adding a 2-speed motor for allowing it to run on high speed for your hose, which still the hose suction isn't really the best it could be, but it's pretty respectable for a direct air machine. So the suction is very strong on this. Get to demonstrating the attachments. So here you have your two extension ones. Basically a grip handle right here with a suction relief. You have your two extension ones. This odd little angled cutter tool, and I'm not sure why Kirby did this. There's probably a reason, but I haven't found it. This one has a clog in it, so basically hook it up right then and there. So right here's your bare floor tool. Doesn't really work the best on carpet, but that's just an idea of how it works. You have your crevice tool right here. You have your upholstery tool right here. You have a much larger upholstery tool. I believe this is actually used for mattress cleaning. You actually don't even need this tool. So you just hook it up like so. The brushes are detachable on this. So let's go ahead and put that back on. Now I'll go ahead and show you this zip brush here. And it is suction driven, pretty much like a typical department store air-powered turbo brush. So just hook it in. Man, just look how fast this thing spins. Man, as I turn it off, you can easily because I've never seen a turbo tool take that long just to spin down. In fact, I'm gonna put away most of the attachments here. Well, it's still winding down. Right here is a little pet hair brush so you can groom your pet hair while using the suction of the vacuum. This doesn't really work well because usually half the time it'll scare off your pets. Right here's a little tool you can attach to the end. Believe it or not, you could also attach this section of the hose to the port right here for where your mini emptor comes off of your bag. And that's where you attach this on the end. This just allows the vacuum to still retain its suctions, just so it'll provide airflow to use this as a blower. This could be used for airing up beach balls and basketballs or whatever kind of air power, whatever kind of thing you need to use it for as an air compressor. So anyway, let's go ahead and put this back in like so. Now this final attachment right here is quite interesting. Let me go and take off the hose and put the floor nozzle back in. Make sure it's lined up. So let's go ahead and set the hose aside for right now. But what this is for is basically you detach your handle. Well, first you're gonna wanna take the cord out of the provisions, detach the bag from the handle, push right here to release your handle out of the base of the vacuum, attach this guy in place, and then move your bag around to the hook right here. Now you can use this thing as a hand vacuum. Personally, I find that this feature very useless because of how heavy the vacuum is. No one would want to use this as a hand vacuum. I bet people would rather want to use this thing in hose mode rather than use it as a hand vac. It's that heavy. So anyway, let's go and put the cord back in its provisions. Right here, reattach the bag. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video of the Kirby Sentria. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.